It did get a little heated. And you know what? At the end of the conversation, I told Nikki, I said, hey, don't worry about me and Ash. We'll be fine. We're going to be okay. Like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, I had no intentions on going live tonight to drag this out and drag them or bring it up in a secret code kind of way. And then, to my surprise, that exact thing is happening to me, and I wasn't even shared the live. Can you understand where I'm upset?
Yes. May I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Did you watch the entire live before you came live and started replaying it?
No. Well, I watched probably about, I don't even know how far I made it in, maybe 20 minutes into before I got it. And that's why I came on so hot tonight, because I had watched exactly what I'd watched, and I was like, wow.
Okay. I understand that. I understand how you can be frustrated and upset. I feel like they tried.
I wouldn't have done that to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. And I feel like if you listen through and, Nikki or whomever does say your name, then I think that, that should solidify you being upset. If they don't mention your name, then I guess, it
was, my name was already mentioned by Mittens. We just watched that before Mittens joined the live.
Right.
So Mittens had already, at this point in the live that they held earlier, had mentioned my name. So now everybody knows who, or is insinuating who they think that Nikki is talking about. So now it just looks like I'm a total dick.
Right. I understand that.
No correction. There was no clarification. There was no, hey, like, you know what? Yes, we did have some issues last night. We had a little discrepancy. Like, they literally went live today to shit talk me.
I feel like
in code too, which pisses me off even more. At least say my name.
Right. I understand that. I think once you go through the clip and get more clarity on it, then, maybe have a conversation with Nikki. I don't think she wanted to name anybody's names, because there is a lot of people that I know it was addressed to, like even people on the opposite side, and I don't want to name names either.
I'm very much so type of person that names names. I guess okay. I struggle with that aspect. I will name names. I will call you the fuck out. You know what I mean? So I struggle with the the talking code, because fucking Pocket Pussy used to do that, and that shit pissed all of us off. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can only, like, why are we talking in code? Why are we talking in code when none of us liked that anyways? Right. At least be real about it.
I think it was a generalized thing, just because there's too many people.
Some of it was, yeah, with right. Like the homophobic stuff, and some of it was, but some of it also wasn't. And how if you don't say names, right? Who was listening and then thought that I was the person? You got a bunch of people in her live that didn't watch my live last night, or didn't see all of my live last night, that are now like, wow, Smash is just allowing all this shit to happen. Like, they're not playing clips or anything. They're not playing any clips. They're not, like I had just did with Mittens. I'll show you the clip. In my opinion, Mittens made herself look kind of fucking stupid just now. Just in my own opinion. I'll say her name, though. I've been saying her name. I've been saying Ash's name. I've been saying Nikki's name. I had switched over at some point to watch some other clips. I don't like when we do this whole let's not say names, because what I do is I'm leaving, if I don't mention names, I'm leaving y'all up to your own devices to make up whoever the fuck you're going to make up. And that's how the telephone game works, right? Right. That's how you had that person that just came in, Saw, right? Saw just came in here and was like, Florida Man came in here to call you out. He said that, right? That's how that works. No, you were the only one that said my name so far, Mittens, yes. But I'm talking about Mittens and Ash Lark. Those are who I'm talking about. That's how this telephone game works. That's where people are left to their own devices to then figure out what the fuck happened last night. And then now they're did you hear Smash is a racist? Did you hear Malibu is a racist? Because from what I heard of something that happened in here today, which is the whole reason why I started watching it, somebody had asked if it was me that had said that, and it was like they were almost insinuating that it might have been Malibu, because they weren't saying names. They didn't even say Skittles' name, right? So now Malibu, I'm like, well, what if Malibu is now being blamed for saying this thing? Because Malibu never said it. I never said it. We just didn't talk about it long enough. Malibu made one witty comment and it was dragged all up and down the fucking streets all day today.
Well, I personally, this is my own feelings, and this is no disrespect towards you. I was listening in last night, and I understand everything getting derailed. I'm not saying that I'm not happy with the way that things were handled. I know you have a lot on your plate. It is what it is. And that's really all I can say about it.
Well, I hope that you know that not everybody can be 100% perfect.
You're right. And I don't ever expect perfection. Perfection doesn't exist.
I do my best. There's been many lives that I've held where we've talked about racism, and I've had many people up here to say what they want to say and say how they feel. And there was one moment where I didn't talk about it long enough, I guess, and I apologize for that. So
that's okay. I accept your apology, and I appreciate you giving one. I was coming up here because I know that Mittens was upset about me being upset and the other person being upset. So, it is what it is. But I do appreciate you letting me up and letting me bump my gums. But you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys around.
Thank you, Trouble.
Have a good night. Okay. Back to the meme. Who called that out for being racist?
Somebody in the comments last night.
There were 7
What?
of all trades live when Mittens was being drugged.
Hold on. You're breaking up. Say that again.
I said there were 700 people in Queen of All Trades live when Mittens was being dragged for making those memes. Not a single person called it out for being racist. I have the clips. I have the proof. I'm the one that approached Mittens privately and said, hey, that could be considered racist. Why don't you do some research on it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's why.
My bad. I thought you meant last night.
And that's why Mittens did the research on it. Nobody else called it out for being racist until Mittens went live and said, well, this is what I learned. And nobody would have called that out for being racist if Mittens did not do that research. So anybody who did not call Mittens out that day, publicly or privately, probably shouldn't be speaking on that being racist, because I feel like I'm the only one that pointed out that it could have been racist. And the road for accountability being left open was left open for Mittens to do research and come to that conclusion herself.
I don't really remember it that way, Florida man, but
I've got the whole live.
I would need some time to.
I can link you to the live. If you want to go over that one after this one, tell me one person in that whole 700 person live that called that out for being racist.
I don't really remember it happening that way, but
I do, because I remember Muffin Man getting called out, and I took a box and I stood up for Muffin Man then too, and she wasn't even on the app. And Mittens was getting drugged, not for it being racist, but because it was something that she didn't admit to doing. That's why she was getting drugged that day. Because it was one thing after another. And
comments? Do you have the live with the comments?
I don't know. I don't think the comments are there, but
yeah, because I'm pretty sure some stuff was going on.
No, people love to read the comments. People would have seen that and jumped on it. Nobody's seeing it as racist. And I'm the one that approached Mittens private. Well, I mean, I got the chats from that day too, from where I said nobody called it out for being racist.
There was a lot of people upset. But again, that was a long time ago, and I can't think of it right on the spot because I'm already fucking pissed off for the night, so I can't even go that far back right now in my brain.
It's okay. We'll go over it later. I'll show you. Nobody called it out for being racist. I'm the one that went at Mittens. Even in my chats with Mittens, I say it's disappointing that out of 700 people, nobody called that out for being racist. It shows people's selective outrage.
Okay. Which only proves my point more that it's okay if you're friends with that person, but it's not okay if you're not friends with that person.
I wasn't friends with that person. When I approached Mittens about it, Mittens genuinely did not know that it was racist. because I gave Mitten ample opportunity to explain why she did it, and nothing about race ever came up. And then when I told Mittens that, hey, that could be considered racist because of cracks of, the stereotype, then her response to that was, oh shit, really? And I'm like, yeah, do some research on it and you'll see. And she did. And she didn't do an hour's worth of research and come back and say, okay, I'm ready to apologize now. She did 2 weeks worth of research. It was a process. It wasn't just real quick, let me read 2 articles.
I don't know. I don't even know about 2 days. It might have been like 3 or 4 days, because I remember when it all happened and she came up like 3 or 4 days later, something like that. And then I even remember being in the live and being like, wow, you actually went and did research on it. Like, awesome, girl. You know what I mean? Like, I was there that night.
So why don't you do some research, Rissa? You'll see the stereotype that's linked. It's a pretty awful stereotype. You should do some research yourself if you're going to come at me for saying this fool really thinks it's only linked to African American people, because in the 80s and 90s, it was a terrible stereotype for the African American community.
Okay, well, listen, I'm trying to get through this live that I want to listen to. I'm trying to find out if the people that came at me sideways today are going to hold up their end of the deal. We can plan on this tomorrow night if we want.
I figure. Oh yeah, Rissa. Hey. Okay, yeah, we can do that tomorrow night. But Rissa, hey, after you do that research, why don't you pay back everybody you owe money to? Because ain't nobody forget about that shit. Have a good night, Smash.
I'm not doing any more boxes, except for unless it's Malibu.
Statements, because I'm not going to speak for other people. I feel it was extremely disrespectful of Malibu to be more concerned about her being clipped for saying 2 rights don't make a wrong. She should be more concerned about the racism of Skittles saying what she said and it not being addressed. Like, I can't say immediately because they didn't understand, but there should have been a longer conversation than, no, Skittles just shouldn't have said that. And then the excuses, like, oh, it was a joke from last year because someone who's deaf has a speech impediment. I'm reading it for what it is.
I was around for that, and I remember that happening.
The amount of people, though, that remember that happening or understand that joke is minuscule to the amount of people in that live that could have possibly been triggered or offended because they have Asian lineage.
Not that Shannon. She did say Shannon because evidently Shannon's somewhere talking about me. She told Shannon to
suck my dick.
Yeah, that's what she said.
That's not you, Shannon. The sassy Shannon, the one that steals money from sick people.
But my thing is if we're going to call one person out for something, you have to call your friends out for it too, and hold that same standard and hold that same energy to everybody. Everybody across the board, whether it's your best friend, whether it's just a friend that's a supporter, it doesn't matter who it is. You have to call it all out, or don't call nothing out at all.
And I mean, if I want to get real funky with it, I can just start saying all of the things that I feel about Malibu.
Kathy.
But that won't help this conversation. I think she's entitled, and I think she needs to seriously listen to what is being said.
Entitled how, Mittens? Entitled how? Entitled how?
Concern about being clipped for saying something wrong was I'm just being frustrated all over again.
It's like I said, it's a
right, Coco.
It's I know that some of these conversations are hard, but they need to be had.
Not to mention the amount of times the clip was played. Like, how many times did you have to hear it to understand that it was racist?
Bad mom. Or bad dog mom. I said bad mom. Sorry, Sarah.
Yeah, Animal, I'm just frustrated. I mean, I do not have Asian lineage, but I have really good friends who do. And it hurt my heart to know that they were affected by what Skittles said and it wasn't spoken about to the length of Bougie saying the R word when Bougie literally apologized as soon as that word came out of her mouth.
Can somebody send me that clip? Or tell me what live it is. What live was it in and when? Yesterday? Can somebody send me her apology? Because from what I'm understanding, her apology was very not as good as it could have been. Can somebody